I went from this 7-figure business to racking up almost $400,000 in medical debt. So to go from a 7-figure business to literally scraping up change, I didn't have anything but God. I had nothing but faith.
You got a coach, and she asked you when you turn 40, what are you willing to lose?
The first thing that came to me was my marriage. There were things that I prayed for in certain seasons of my life that if I didn't release, they would have killed me in the next.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Once you have that vision locked in, you can ask yourself, is this the mental and physical well-being of a person who lives like that? I don't think that everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. I also do not believe in people following their passion and the money will come. Passion is for you, purpose is for others. Purpose is a part of calling. You will know your purpose when people start calling you for it. Scarcity mindset will follow you into every season of your life. You see it with dating. People think there's a scarcity of men. And there was a clip of me that went viral because I was talking about my list.
Oh, I remember this.
Like, I am not even supposed to be here as a Black woman with 2 degrees, a 7-figure business, and you think that the hurdle is finding a man over 6'3"?
Girl.
People don't like Black women being able to say,
come on,
and hold and believe that everything is available to them.
When you talk to women and you coach women, what is the first thing you tell them to do? Welcome to Vault Empowers Talks, where we don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential change makers. I'm your host, Brandi Harvey. Y'all, I got a good one today. It's a super friend kind of day. Patrice Washington is a #1 best-selling author, captivating speaker, and hope-restoring coach to women who are eager to do meaningful work in the world. Patrice rose to stardom as the personal finance expert of both the Steve Harvey Morning Show and the Steve Harvey Talk Show, as well as appeared in dozens of media outlets such as Dr. Oz and Fox and Friends. She has been featured in hundreds of online and print publications, including the New York Post, Cosmopolitan, and Essence Magazine, just to name a few. As the host of the Redefining Wealth podcast since 2017, Patrice has amassed over 20 million downloads with weekly talks that educate her audience on far more than financial wealth. You can also watch Patrice on the PBS Telly award-winning television series Opportunity Knocks. Patrice has been named Success Magazine's top 25 influential leaders in personal development. Patrice believes the life and prosperity you desire are your birthright. Vault Empowers Talks welcome thought leader, podcaster, author, speaker, mother, and my super sister friend, Patrice Washington, to the show. What's up, Patrice?
Hi, B. Thank you for having me.
Patrice.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm happy to be here. I've watched you do that like 30 times on YouTube, and now it was my turn. And I feel the same way everybody says, like, ooh, yes, that is me.
Yes, that is you. I'm so excited you're joining me today. I've had the pleasure of being on your show.
A couple times.
And now you get to sit in the seat with me. So I just know that this conversation, y'all, is going to be one for the books. And you over here looking angelic. I told you when you sat down, you looking angelic in this cream. You know, when Black women put on some cream or some white, we turn into a whole different person.
Amen. Yes.
Listen, you are a speaker, you're a thought leader, you're a podcaster, you're an author. And you started off talking about finance, but wealth is so much more than money.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Wealth is so much more. Most people see wealth as the top definition, which is money and material possessions. But when I lost everything back in 2007, 2008, during the recession, it was the first time that I actually dug deep to figure out what wealth really is. And when you do that, what you find is the original 12th century definition of wealth is the condition of well-being and happiness. And I think that really speaks to why so many of us will do all the things to check stuff off the list. We will go to school, get good grades, try to get a good job, and live the way society tells you to live. And yet we still find ourselves chasing after money. The target is always moving because we don't realize that there are other parts of our lives that impact how we show up with our finances, even when we're not thinking about it. And so I went from being America's money maven on the Steve Harvey Show and all these other platforms to really pursuing an MBA in behavioral finance and financial psychology because I wanted to dig deeper into the beliefs and the mindsets and the behavior that impact how we show up with money, how we show up with our careers, and how we truly define success for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stand on the 6 pillars with Redefining Wealth, the podcast that since 2018, I mean, over almost 20 million downloads that you've done.
Since 2017.
Oh,
Yeah, 2017. Over 20 million downloads.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
So I think, so many times we aren't thinking of wealth having multiple layers and pillars. And you stand on 6 pillars.
I do. Now, if I can say, we were accountability partners back in the day.
Yes, we were.
And even, do you remember when we used to write out our goals? I'd be like, okay, B, we're going to write them by these different...
All the pillars.
Those were the pillars.
Those were the pillars.
I just didn't call it anything until I launched the podcast in 2017. And the reason is, for years, I have been speaking all over the place. I've been coaching people, working with folks, doing media, and the conversations were the same over and over again. And I realized that the people who got the most benefit from my work were the people who took advice in other areas of their lives. Because you could tell people what to do with finances, but if you don't have the belief system, if you don't have the mental and spiritual well-being, if you're not relationally sound, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you, you are going to find ways to sabotage over and over and over again. So when I released Redefining Wealth in 2017, after having a lot of success in media and all that, I just really felt that still small voice said, you got to tell the truth about wealth. It was my version of the truth about wealth because I was on the Dr. Oz show. I'll never forget. And, when you go to the Dr. Oz show, you have to do a little test run before you
I have never been on a Dr. Oz show, just so y'all know. Okay.
Well, let me inform you,
Tell me, friend, what was they doing over at Dr. Oz?
So when you go on the Dr. Oz show, you typically go and do a little dress rehearsal before you go out and tape in front of the audience. And so it was during the dress rehearsal where we get there and they're like, Patrice, we're so excited to have you. Yes, glad you're back. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about saving on groceries.
Oh, goodness.
And it was a little something in my spirit.
Patrice don't do this.
This is not really... I think the thing that's going to move the needle, right? But I go along with it and they go, we have these felt boards, think kindergarten classroom, and we have these little felt pieces of like broccoli and apples and carrots. And they're like, so you're going to say this point and then you're going to move the felt piece of broccoli from this board to that board. And in that moment, my spirit was like, who have you become? What are you doing with your life? Because while other people might applaud, yes, look at all the things you're doing, for me, it didn't feel genuine and authentic because I knew the conversations that I was having with people was, you don't have a money problem, you have a people problem. You don't really have a money problem, you have a faith problem. Just because you go to church every week, you're using your faith as a financial crutch, and that's not what we're about to do. I'm having all these other conversations with people, and then I have to get on these stages or get on television and just go along with whatever the producer said or whatever the event coordinator said and just deliver a message that for me was watered down and diluted. And when I launched the podcast in 2017, it was like, I want to tell the truth about wealth. I want to introduce people to what I've been doing with clients privately. I want to introduce people to what I do with my own sister friends and accountability partners. We're not just talking about the financial goal.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the parts of our lives that have to come together to protect that vision.
Yeah.
That's what the pillars are. They are a way to protect the vision that you say you have for your finances, for your career, for your life, your dreams, your hopes. You have to set up the rest of your life to support that, or it will undermine it and sabotage it every time.
Yeah. When you started off, a lot of your messaging was rooted in Christianity, right? Biblical principles about wealth, the fundamentals of wealth rooted in faith.
Yeah.
You did a lot of teachings in the churches. I mean, at one point, baby.
I know.
Baby Patrice was on the church tour every weekend. Okay?
Yeah.
But as you started to evolve in your life, in your career, in your relationships, you started to lose some beliefs, change some beliefs, have different beliefs along the way. And you got a lot of backlash for that.
I did. So let me go back. So when I say that I lost everything, I started a real estate and mortgage brokerage straight out of college. When people told me that I would fail and that it wouldn't be successful and all those things. And by 25, it was a 7-figure business. So I now have, and I'm from South Central Los Angeles, little Belizean American girl from South Central, built this 7-figure business in Manhattan Beach, California, think that it will go on forever until I take a fall down the stairs, end up in the hospital on bed rest for 10 weeks, and have my daughter Reagan 10 weeks prematurely.
Yeah.
Who affectionately calls you TT Brandi.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
And so I went from this 7-figure business to racking up almost $400,000 in medical debt.
Wow.
And then my home foreclosing in Southern California. My investment properties are upside down because I have tenants. It's a recession. I have tenants who are not paying their rent, and I don't have the heart to put out single mothers and all this stuff. So I'm like, as they say, robbing Peter to pay Paul, just trying to figure it out. And cars being repossessed, matching Range Rovers gone, everything that could happen in that season happened. So I just want to say, you're talking to someone who faith is everything for me. So to go from a 7-figure business to literally scraping up change, having to chase the power man down to turn on the lights, keep the electricity on or my baby's milk would spoil. This is who I am. When I ended up losing that 6,000 square foot home in Southern California and moving into a 600 square foot apartment in Metairie, Louisiana, I didn't have anything but God. I had nothing but faith. My family didn't know what was going on. My girlfriends didn't know what was going on. People think we just moved politely. We suffered in silence for over a year and nobody knew. So it wasn't until I had the moment where I was chasing the power man down and he took pity on us, turned the lights back on. I go back in this apartment with my baby. My former husband comes and takes the baby on a walk, and I just get in the mirror and I'm like, God, why me? I've been a good person. I treat people well. I operate in integrity. I do good business. Why would all of this be happening to me? And that turned into me literally crying on the floor in fetal position, begging God for an answer because I knew I brought myself as far as I could take myself. And the Holy Spirit said, get your Bible. And it was Proverbs 17:16. It said, what good is money in the hands of a fool if they have no desire to seek wisdom? What good is money in the hands of a fool if they have no desire to seek wisdom? That's why my name is Seek Wisdom to this day, right? And I say that because for me, faith is the foundation. Like, I feel like that scripture was literally given to me to usher me into a new season and a next level of purpose. So when I got off that floor and started to look at the difference between, wisdom and knowledge, I was like, I've been smart. I went to the University of Southern California, graduated with honors. God, you trying to tell me I'm not smart? And realize that knowledge is the gathering of information. Wisdom is how do you apply it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When, where, with whom do you apply it? What is wealth really? All of these things. And I truly believe that my faith has been a catalyst for all of that. I also understand, however, that as we continue to grow and mature, your faith should grow and mature, and it should not be borrowed from everybody else.
Come on.
And what I've learned in this season over this last decade or so is that I could not become who God was calling me to be trying to borrow my grandmother's faith anymore. I couldn't really step into the fullness of who I'm supposed to be, trying to hang on to scriptures that I don't understand for myself, trying to hang on to things that I can't apply. I'm just regurgitating things because other people say it. And I also recognize that I was taught to fear God. I was taught that God did not love me if I didn't do certain things, if I didn't show up a certain way, if I didn't please other people, if I didn't say things in the way other people expected it, that I was always waiting for God to come and punish me, as opposed to recognizing God to be a loving creator and father. And it took me years. It took me years of sitting in a prayer closet, of journaling, of praying, of meditating, of seeking for myself without thinking that I needed other people's external praise and acceptance of who I am and who I'm being called, right, to be in the space. And so I started to get more vocal about that on my podcast. Just that, especially when I turned 40, I was like, I don't know if I will label myself as a Christian, because actually based on the way I see Christians behave in these comments,
What?
but based
Girl.
on the way that I see Christianity being weaponized through politics and through policy and through everything else, I don't know if that is actually aligned with who I am. And I'm still determining what that looks like for me. But what I have learned is that the God that loves me would not allow me to settle and stay in places that did not serve or support me anymore. And so it led to a lot of changes for me.
I mean, it's so interesting that you say that, because I said that in an episode with Billy Carson, and as polarizing as he is to many people, one of the things I said was, even in a relationship, you hear people riddle off a list of things that they want. They're like, I want a man that fears God. I'm like, I don't want a man that fears God. I want a man that loves God. Mm-hmm. Because he's going to approach life with a totally different vigor, because he knows that he loves God. I'm not scared of waiting for God to be vengeful over me. I'm waiting on God to bless me. I'm looking for God to show up and make the way plain and clear the path for me. So I love that. But I mean, one of the things, though, we talk about losing this belief. Mm-hmm. When you talk about 40 and the transition that you experienced at 40, you had a coach that you were working with, and you a coach that keep a coach.
Yep, okay? Still have the same coach.
You got a coach, and she asked you when you turn 40, what are you willing to lose? Mm-hmm. And that took you down a whole rabbit hole of things you decided you needed to lose.
Well, more specifically, she said, what are you willing to lose to be everything you believe God has called you to be? And if I'm radically honest, the first thing that came to be was my marriage. But I did what most people do. I wasn't ready to be radically honest with myself, so I made a laundry list of tons of things, and I used the pillars to help me. I was using a list of like, oh, this type of clothes, this eating style, or, this diet in particular, or I'm willing to lose these things in my home. And I don't know if you remember that year, baby, I was remodeling stuff. I had kitchen chronicles on my Instagram.
Every day it was, when is this kitchen going to be done?
Yes.
When the basement going to be done?
I was just doing all the things. I went and did the busy work. I went and did the busy work, because busy work is easy work. The hard work is the hard work.
Come on.
And the hard work requires us to be radically honest. And most of us are not radically honest, because then we'd have to get the guts to do something about it. So we act like we don't know. We act like we didn't hear what we heard. We act like we don't know what God is calling us to do. We act like we don't see the signs. We act like we didn't hear the things. And I have become so accustomed to normalizing, romanticizing, intellectualizing, and over-spiritualizing what was happening in my marriage. And I want to be clear. We didn't argue. There was not a whole bunch of back and forth. But because I say that, let me tell you what people hear. I see these boss women, they start making all this money and they start doing all this stuff, then they want to leave their husbands. No. In order to be a woman who can create, or anyone who can create a high 6-figure, 7-figure business, do all of these things, it requires you to grow in different ways. And the thing is, as you start to grow in those ways, there is certain behavior that becomes intolerable.
Yes.
There are certain things that you couldn't see in one season of your life. And I will say that there were things that I prayed for in certain seasons of my life that if I didn't release, they would have killed me in the next.
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. What?
I believe that.
Rewind the tape, Patrice.
Yeah, I believe that sometimes the things that we pray for that we believe are keeping us safe in a season, it is for that season. There is a reason to that season. But some things have an expiration date. The season is up. And many of us will overstay our welcome in a certain season. And so that path of just being radically honest made me say, no, okay. No, we don't argue per se. We don't bicker per se. My daughter wasn't in a hostile environment seeing us do all of these things. But here's what I've learned. People will praise longevity and completely ignore toxicity, even in a small form, right? So they want you to just stay married forever and ever and ever, even when it's just not good, because people don't recognize psychological abuse. They only want to pay attention to straight up physical abuse and completely ignore psychological abuse. And the reality is, even as a successful woman who had a very strong voice publicly, on stage, on television, in media, I lost my voice in my marriage. Mm-hmm. And I believe that if my ex-husband was willing to be radically honest, he knows exactly how the hell we got there.
Yeah.
And that is what it is, right? And so we've had our conversations. He's taken responsibility for some of those things. But the idea that women should stay, and this was a part of my struggle with Christianity, because a lot of...
I mean, you said it. You was fasting, praying.
I was fasting, praying, doing all the things. And anytime I took something to a pastor or to a Christian counselor, they would make me the problem. Because people have a problem with women who are clear in their convictions. They want you to act like you're confused all the time. And once you say, I'm clear.
I don't know how I got here.
Right. And once you say, no, I'm clear because this behavior is inconsistent, is detrimental to us, like this is not okay. Well, you just gotta pray. And
pray
are
harder.
You fasting enough?
Yeah.
Because he's responding to you. Well, I thought he was the head. I thought I was supposed to be responding to him. He's responding to me. No. I also learned in this season that, again, a woman with a strong voice, that it appears strong to other people automatically assume she's not agreeable.
Yeah.
That she's combative.
Yeah.
That she can't communicate.
Yeah.
That all these things. And I'm like, that couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not argumentative. We talk about this all the time.
No.
When I talk to you and Carly, I'm always like, really? You guys said that?
Y'all said that?
Okay, wow.
I would have never.
I would have never. Right? We always say that. That's just not even in my nature.
Yeah.
But because I, present as very strong and powerful. No, there were a lot of times where I had just learned that my voice was a burden. So I stopped talking.
Wow.
And I stopped advocating. And I put my head down and I did my work. I have thousands of clients. I blessed people, grew this podcast, grew this platform. And what became intolerable for me was the feeling that I was a public success and a private failure. I was doing all the things that I talked about, but if you're not doing it with someone who also desires that type of life, it makes you feel like, what am I doing this for? It made me feel that way. And so going back to my coach's question, what would I have to lose to be everything I felt like God was calling me to be? It was that marriage, because it wasn't allowing me to live from my most authentic, genuine self. And I'm genuinely a vulnerable person. Like, transparency is not hard for me.
Yeah.
But when you learn that you have to hide and cover up for other people, it becomes in conflict with your value of transparency.
Yeah. The hiding and covering up for other people. I think so many women find themselves in that space of trying to cover up for, whether it's for a parent, whether it's for a spouse, whether it's for a child in their behavior, all the things. So how do you tell women or teach women how to move away from that?
Well, I really use the pillars for everything. And for me, the pillars are about having a process for how you process life. And so I believe that when you start to ask yourself better questions and become more authentic about what you truly need, want, and desire in each one of the pillars, it starts to raise this level of expectation. Like, there's
Did
a
you
certain
say the pillars?
strength.
Did
we say the pillars? No, I don't think we did.
Go ahead.
Through them?
Say the pillars.
Okay, so here are the 6 pillars of wealth. The first pillar is fit. It's about becoming your best self, and that's mentally and physically. So we always talk about, listen, if you have a vision for your life, it is your duty and responsibility to protect the only vessel you will get to execute that vision. It is not enough for us to run around like, oh, our health is our wealth and all of this stuff, but then we will run our bodies into the ground in the name of purpose, in the name of platform, in the name of all the things. We'll run our bodies in the ground, especially women, putting everybody else at the top of the list and consistently moving ourselves to the bottom. And I will also say being mentally fit, because I think many of us are praying for positions that we don't have the capacity to sustain. If we got it right now, just think about what we endure, right? I think of Winston Churchill's quote, "No good deed shall go unpunished." You have a platform that is rooted in empowering people. I have a platform that is rooted in empowering and inspiring people. And yet we both get comments that talk about our looks and our weight and call us names and all of these things. If you're not mentally fit for the journey,
Come on.
you will clock out
Yeah.
before you even
Yeah.
can get to the numbers that you were saying you desire. So we begin with being mentally and physically fit. The second pillar is the people pillar. It's about creating relationships that matter. I think the main thing that we say here is there's always someone watching you who has the power to bless you, but who are they watching you be?
Yeah.
I think in this society, so many people will do whatever they can to be seen and to have those fleeting moments of fame or celebrity. But for me, the juice is in the relationships that I have had for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
Because how are people watching you show up? Who are people watching you be when the cameras aren't on, when the lights aren't on? Are you someone that people can come to? Can you be an advocate for them an advocate for you? So relationships, I feel, have been the key component of building the career and platform that I have. The next pillar is space. It's about setting up your life to support you. The average American in particular, they say, wastes about 79 hours a year looking for things they own but can never find. So just imagine going in circles, always touching your pockets, looking for keys, looking for glasses, looking for this, looking for that. And it's really just about making sure that your life supports what you say you want.
Let me say this, y'all. I done been in this lady house in her kitchen, and you open up the drawers in her kitchen, everything is organized to the T. When we hosted your brunch,
Yeah.
the chef who came on and said, gosh, she's organized. I said, yes. I said, you come to my house, it's a shit show. So the drawers are just...
Yeah. I didn't grow up in order. And it was just something that I always desired because I can't think or function when there's too much chaos.
Yeah.
Like I just can't. And I think a lot of us jeopardize our own creativity and we stifle our ability to see opportunity because we're always so distracted by all the stuff around us.
Yeah.
And it's not about looking Pinterest worthy, right? It's just about, do you have a level of organization that supports what you say you want?
Yeah.
And beauty and a scent and all the things that really create the vibe that you want. And, I call you vibe queen.
Yeah.
So your cabinets may not be that orderly, but you a vibe.
But yeah, the house is a vibe.
The house is a vibe,
but,
always.
But
Yes.
it's a junk drawer over there.
It's a utility drawer.
Yeah, okay, that's what it's called.
Utility drawer. That's what it's supposed to be
I got
called.
one. I got one. Yeah.
The next pillar is faith. It's about believing in something greater. And I just want to say here, I've said for years, I don't care what people say they believe in. I just want you to make time for it. If you say you believe in something, where is it on your calendar? Because life is coming. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And a lot of us wait until catastrophe strikes to figure out what we believe in, who we believe in, and all these things. When you're in the middle of a crisis, that's not the time to be trying to figure out your process. When you already have a process, when crisis hits, you, unlike most people, don't have to be in the corner sucking your thumb, shaking back and forth. You could be in your process. Is that prayer for you? Is that journaling? Is that meditation? Is that going to church? Is that going to mosque? Is that whatever that is for you? But I've said since the beginning of Redefining Wealth that the faith pillar was about believing in something greater. Christians heard believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
I never said that.
Yeah.
And because of that, we actually have a very diverse community of people. I have had so many people in my DMs who are in the Redefining Wealth app right now who say, Patrice, I don't believe in Jesus, but I feel your heart. I feel your love.
Yeah.
Like I feel that whatever it is you're doing, for me, that's the way I witness about my faith. It's not going in people's comments and telling them that they're damned to hell because they didn't wear pantyhose today. Y'all should stop. It's ridiculous.
Y'all gonna get these legs.
Wait, both sides.
Come on.
Right? That's not the way to bring anyone to any type of faith. Like it's ridiculous. So faith is about believing in something greater, mostly because in order for you to get to the wealth that you say you desire, you must build resilience. Resilience is the only way because all of us will experience setbacks.
Yeah.
All of us will experience something that we were not bargaining for. And so we want to know what we believe in and be able to go to that at any time. The fifth pillar is work. It's about living your life's purpose. I believe that we were born on purpose, with purpose, for such a time as this. If you are here, there is something that only your soul came here to accomplish, right, at this particular period in time. And I don't think that everyone needs to be an entrepreneur.
Come on.
To experience purpose.
Listen.
It gets on my nerves.
Everybody ain't supposed to author a book.
Yeah.
Some of y'all need to go return y'all podcast mics today.
Clocked it. No. That's real though. It's like everybody thinks they should be an entrepreneur. I am a business coach, right? In many respects. And I will tell people, please do not go quit your job and say Patrice Washington told you anything. That is a lie from the pits of hell. I did not tell you that, right? Now, I do believe, especially as women, that we all need to know how to monetize our gifts. Because again, if life happens, you need to be able to drop into some action. You need to know where to go, what to do, what platforms exist, and what you do better than anyone else with the least amount of effort. You need to know that. I also, with the work pillar, do not believe in people following their passion and the money will come. I also believe that is a lie from the pits of hell. Because a lot of people are passionate about things they're not proficient in. Ooh! Just because you're passionate.
That's a word right there.
You could be passionate. That means that it energizes you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It excites you. Wonderful. You could do it all day and take no bathroom breaks. Good for you. But if you're not good at it,
come on,
I'm not going to pay you for it. And therefore, that is now a hobby of yours. So people telling you that, oh, follow your passion. No, passion is for you. Purpose is for others. When you allow yourself to get excited about the things that you naturally do well and you add additional skill, you get those hours in and you start to find the market that you can serve with that, that becomes purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose is a part of calling. You will know your purpose when people start calling you for it. God ain't the only person that has to call you. Other people who gonna pay you have to call you.
Wait a minute, Patrice. It's a calling. That means other people are calling you for it. Amen.
Yeah, people should be asking you. But I will say, a lot of people dismiss and diminish the things that people are asking them for because it came to them easy. And that is a lie from the pits of hell, right? We've always been gifted at speaking. This is what comes to us naturally. It's nothing for us to get on a stage, to get on a mic, and to show up and do our thing. It's also the thing that was weaponized against me when I was a kid.
Come on, you talk too much.
You talk too much.
Yeah.
Oh, good student talks too much. If you could just get her to be quiet.
She's so bossy.
Why?
She's so bossy.
Because I was supposed to lead a business.
Yeah.
I was supposed to lead a team.
Yeah.
That's who I am. And instead of cultivating that, it was demonized. It was weaponized. And so many of us put our gifts to the side and we started to dismiss and diminish. And then we start looking at other people and going, oh, I should do what so-and-so does. Oh, because I'm passionate about it. But baby, you're not proficient. It don't come to you like that. And I'm not saying you can't get better. But right now,
it's not.
This is not the thing. And the thing that people call you for, the things that people call you for should spark something. What are the things that people are always asking you about? You should move in that direction. It is naturally calling you. I don't know why we got addicted to making things hard. We have been programmed to believe that success has to come with so much struggle and stress and strife and forcing and pushing and toiling and manipulating. And I'm not saying that we don't work, because we work. We put the work in. But it's also such a joy that comes with it when you're doing it from a place that is effortless and natural, as opposed to trying to force yourself to do stuff. I don't believe in that anymore. And also, the last pillar is money. It's about managing what you have wisely and attracting the abundance you desire. And I simply say this, all of the money advice we've heard for decades works, but you are not in position to actually work it when you have all this clutter in those first 5 pillars. If everything is cluttered for you in those first 5 pillars, people could give you all of the secret weapons and what to invest in and how to do this and what real estate you should invest. You don't have the capacity.
Exactly.
You too worried about everybody else.
Yeah.
Your faith is all over the place. You're mentally and physically not even well enough.
Your
you don't have the
house is a
stamina.
mess. Your car is nasty.
Your car is nasty. Listen. But you don't have all of these other parts supporting whatever the vision is you say you have. When you start to have those things supporting, back to your original thing, removing that clutter allows you to show up more authentically in each part of your life. And that's what gives you the conviction and the courage and the confidence to then say the things that you need to say when you do find that there are people or possessions or behaviors that you need to be willing to lose.
Oh, talk about willing to lose, Patrice. The scarcity mindset. You've done whole podcast episodes on this. You've talked about this on stages. And you talk about the scarcity mindset. And it's not a certain demographic. High earners can be victim to the scarcity mindset.
Oh, yeah. Scarcity mindset will follow you into every season of your life. You just have to be aware of it. And scarcity mindset is essentially this idea of just lack, like there's not enough. You see it a lot with people who do get to, I would say, higher levels in their professions or their career, where now they think that they're just competing with everybody as if there's not enough market share to go around, right? And you just see it in the way people respond, the way they show up to certain things, this limiting idea that if you get something, now I can't have. It's very weird. Whenever people tell me like, oh, I saw you on this thing and you're my competition, I say, oh, girl, we're not competition. We're complementary. I don't even want to do what you do.
Girl, I don't even know you. It's my first time meeting you.
Yeah, I don't even want to, and I don't want to do what you do in the way that you do what you do, because the only person who can do what I do the way that I do what I do is me.
Baby, you looking at her.
You looking at her. I don't fear
she is
you doing anything, right? Like, we are complementary. That's why I open up my platform to other people. That's why I'm okay with going live with other people, sharing stages with other people, collaborating on retreats with people, because I don't have a fear that, oh, if you see Brandi now, you won't like me. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But scarcity mindset follows people through. It's not just about a scarcity in finances. You see it with dating. People think there's a scarcity of men. I didn't think there was a scarcity of men. I didn't think there was a scarcity of good men. When I started dating, I was like, there is no pee in the dating pool. And I live in Atlanta.
Listen, Patrice, and you know, we done traveled together. You know, we done had some times, okay?
Good times.
But we always talk about this because when people ask me like, oh, you date in Atlanta? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. I haven't had those experiences. I meet really good men.
I meet really nice men. Well, you were talking about the list earlier, and I remember doing an episode called You Won't Make Me Dumb Down My Desires. So I was on Anthony O'Neill's show, and there was a clip of me that went viral because I was talking about my list.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh. It was everywhere,
it was.
Right? And I was talking about my list. And so I talked about, first of all, people completely skipped over the fact that I said I wanted someone who was honest and kind and integral and patient and all these things. And when I said they had to be over 6'3", girl, these people lost it. Who does she think she is? She's over 40 years old and divorced. Nobody wants her and all this stuff. And
it sounds like a lot of short kings out there.
Baby,
sound like a lot of short kings.
Had to be nothing but.
Short king, Dr. Umar. You gotta say it in threes.
They were sending me DMs with statistics about how many like single men are available, and then out of that, how many are black, and then how many are over this age, and all this stuff. And so, you know, I just
research y'all baby daddy the way y'all research these points y'all be making.
Well, listen, you know, I respond with podcast episodes. I don't even go back and forth, baby. Oh, you want to be an episode? Okay, no problem. Coming soon. You just wait. I did a whole podcast episode. You won't make me dumb down my desires. I am already a walking contradiction. I'm not even supposed to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm first generation American. I grew up in Leimert Park in South Central Los Angeles. I walked over crack pipes to get to school. I have seen drive-by shootings. I have ducked and dodged from drive-by shootings. Like, I am not even supposed to be here as a black woman with 2 degrees, an MBA in behavioral finance and financial psychology, a 7-figure business, all of the things that I've done. And you think that the hurdle is finding a man over 6'3"?
Girl.
Child.
Please talk to me nicely.
No. I said, well, I'm already a walking contradiction. And also, I don't have scarcity mindset. I do not have the mindset that because of your experience or your experience or your experience, that has to be mine. I can respect your experience and also not receive it for me.
Yeah.
I respect that that's what you went through. It's just like people telling me scarcity mindset. Oh, your daughter, when she becomes a teenager, you're not going to like her anymore. Oh, when they become, you like her now because she's young and she's cute. But when she becomes a teenager, I respect if that was your experience with your daughter, but I don't receive that. My daughter is 17 years old, just received an athletic scholarship to play flag football in college.
We did not see that coming.
Did not see it coming, right? Again, an abundance mindset, though, because my prayer is that she go to school debt-free.
Yeah.
Now, God blew our minds with how, but that she would go to school debt-free because, of course, her number one school is one of the most expensive schools in Georgia. I'm like, Reagan, really? Okay. But she figured it out. She made it happen. And again, I just approach life from that mindset that everything is available to me. If God put it on this earth, why is it not available to me? And people don't like Black women being able to say,
come on,
and hold and believe that everything is available to them. They want you to shrink. They want you to think because you're over 40, you dead now. Mm-hmm. They want you to think, oh, because you have a child, because you're divorced, because you didn't do this.
You dark skinned. You look like a Black woman. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you actually look like a Black woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you have full features. Look at your nose.
Look at your hair. Okay.
All the things. I'm like, yeah, and no, yeah, I believe that this is what God. Let me tell you something. Everything starts with belief. If anybody has anything going on with them right now, we create it and we accept it because of our beliefs. And our beliefs are always going to dictate our thoughts. Our thoughts are always going to dictate our words. Our words will always dictate our actions. Our actions will always dictate our behaviors. And those behaviors are what our habits are. And if you want to see what you really value, look at your habits. Mm-hmm. You're going to look at your habits. Be mad at them habits. Don't be mad at another woman for believing what she can have and what she doesn't have to tolerate and what she doesn't have to
be
accept.
Mad at them habits.
And so can I just say one more thing, friend? I know this is your platform. Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, I have to say
that's
one
why
more
you
thing.
here.
The thing with when you start dismantling beliefs is that people are going to start saying you're destroying your life. The number one comment that I had, outside of the number one unsupportive comment, because when I announced that I was ready to dream a new dream, and in 2022 announced that I was separating, most people were very supportive. Because if you know me, you know that I'm very thoughtful. I'm not somebody that just makes rash decisions. Yeah. I'm very thoughtful and methodical, right? But the people who had something to say, the people who sent me full paragraphs via email, the people who thought it was appropriate to send me full DMs telling me about how disappointed they were and how my beliefs were just falling apart and how God would not be pleased with me and wanted to, because what does God think about you though? Because why are you, okay, but anyway. So all of those things, this is the distinction that I've made in these last few years. When you are starting to take on new beliefs, when you're starting to expand and you have really sincere conviction and confidence about what it is you say you believe, people will look at you as if you're destroying your life because it no longer reflects what they have held as truth or as fact. It no longer reflects what they've been willing to tolerate in their own lives. It no longer reflects the boundaries, right, that you didn't have, that they got to cross all the time. Because a lot of people don't want you to change because they've benefited from your lack of boundaries. But as soon as you start getting some governing decisions about what you believe, what you need, want, and desire, and you are okay with articulating it, people will say, you are destroying your life. You are on a path of destruction. Oh, I'm so sad for you. You're on a path of destruction. There's a difference between destruction and deconstruction. And when people are very immature spiritually, I believe they get it twisted. So let me help you with the difference here. Destruction is like taking a wrecking ball and just like blowing up your whole life. That's what people see when you start to do things differently. Oh my gosh, you're getting a divorce. Oh my gosh, you're moving. You're getting a new job. You're starting a business. They think you're going through a midlife crisis. They're putting all of this stuff on you. Deconstruction is looking at your life. You can use the 6 pillars of wealth as a guide and methodically and meticulously dismantling the parts that don't serve, right? This next level vision of the structure. There's a lot of buildings, people they don't get torn down. They get deconstructed. They start to remove the carpet. They remove the windows. They remove certain parts, of the building. And then they bring in something fresh.
Yeah.
They bring in something renewed. They bring in something new and light that reflects where the building is going.
Yeah.
Many of us, I think in this era, we're in a great awakening. And for people who are dismantling pieces of their faith, they're dismantling the way they did relationship, they're dismantling like what they believe is possible for themselves. Do not let people tell you that you are on a path of destruction, you are ruining your life. You are going through a deconstruction, and everything that you put back in there gets to be authentic, it gets to be genuine, and it gets to be exactly who the hell you are.
Yeah.
Because people's external ideas and thoughts, opinions, and validation do not trump your internal intuition. And internally, you already know what it is. Now it's time to own it.
That is so good. Deconstructing. I think that so many people are afraid of that part, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the work that comes along with it. Because you can't start deconstructing without having some real intention, some real goals, some real ideas in place for you to move to the next level. And so when you talk to women and you coach women through deconstructing, what is the first thing you tell them to do?
Create an ignited, aligned vision. An ignited, aligned vision is rooted in what truly, when you think about it, not what you think your mama wants, not what you think is acceptable by society standards, not when you think about other expectations from other places, but an ignited vision is from within. Ignited is a spark from within. What excites you? What do you genuinely see for yourself? I think one of the saddest things is so many adults have been taught that they can't dream. They need to be practical. They need to be logical. They need to just survive. So they can't even think about, what do I genuinely want? And if they think about it, they don't have the guts to voice it, even to themselves in their own quiet times. I tell women to journal, they're scared to even write it in their own journal.
That's so wild, right?
Yeah. But if you don't have an ignited vision, most people live from an inspired vision. Inspiration comes from outside of you.
Yeah.
Inspiration is external. So you were inspired to do this thing because your mama said. You were inspired to do this thing because a counselor said.
Yeah.
You were inspired because, oh, this is what your friends are doing. This is why most people can't manage their finances well. You too worried about what your friends are doing. You don't have an inspired vision for yourself. I'm sorry, an ignited vision for yourself of what you want. You're inspired by, oh, Brandi's driving this kind of car. I need to go get this kind of car. Oh, so-and-so took their kids on this vacation. I need to go do that. But what does your ignited vision say about how you live your life and what you genuinely want, right? So I tell people to start from an ignited vision. What truly excites you? If you didn't think anyone would read the journal, if you weren't afraid of somebody else hearing it, if you gave yourself permission to just close your eyes and dream, the greatest faculty that God has given us is the ability to imagine and dream. Your dad taught me dreaming is free. Yeah. You might as well dream big. You might as well dream in full color. Now, in the real world, of course, do we have budget constraints? Yes, we do. Okay, but dreaming is free.
Yeah.
You can start there. You don't have to have the full version. You can start with a 1.0 version of it. But if you just stay consistent, our consistency is because we don't have anything we're truly devoted to. You can't be devoted to other people's ideas of what you should be or do. Because then every time life happens, every time the wind blows, you back in that corner sucking your thumb. But when it's your vision and you sold out for that vision, you will find a way. You will go around, you will go over, you will go under, you will bulldoze your way through if you have to, because that's your vision. Everything starts with a vision. If you don't have a vision, there's nothing for the pillars to protect.
If you don't have the vision. When we talk about abundance, right, in that vision, it comes with some alignment. And so how do we begin to get aligned so that that spark can be ignited inside of us, for us to be able to say, let me start to put some pillars in my life, put some pillars in place? What can we do?
So we ask ourselves, again, better questions, right? So it can start with, if you're even thinking about the fifth pillar. So once you have that vision locked in, you can ask yourself, is this the mental and physical well-being of a person who lives like that?
Patrice, I literally always ask people that same question in a very different way. You have a very great spin on that question. But like, really, I be cussing at people when I ask them certain stuff. But is it? Do they look like that?
Is this the mental and physical well-being of a person who you see there? I'll give you an example. So back in the day, and it's a space pillar example, but back in the day, I lived in Mableton, Georgia. We had this extra room. And at the time, I was like, I want to become an author. And in that room is where everything went to die, right? Amazon packages, laundry that didn't get folded, my daughter's extra toys, all the stuff was in there. But that was the room I was supposed to be writing in. And so I would go in the room to write, and I would instantly get distracted because I'm like, well, let me fold the clothes. Okay, well, let me put this up. Well, what did we order? I don't remember ordering anything. Let me see what this is. Now I got to take it up 2 flights of stairs. And it was this thing. And I remember sitting there one day and my spirit said, is this the office of a national best-selling author? Do you think that this is what your favorite author would be sitting in right now? You have no respect for what you said you think God told you to do.
Ooh.
Your space does not reflect what you were saying you believe God told you to do. And instantly, I had my ex-husband redo the room, and it became my office. And I got that book done, and 4 books after it.
4 books later. Listen, I think if people began to ask themselves that question frequently, lives would change.
I think the thing that makes people afraid of asking these questions, though, is, again, then they're going to have to get the guts to do something. Most of us don't want to ask ourselves the question because we want to pretend that we don't know what to do. It's easier to pretend you don't know what to do because then you don't have to take responsibility for anything.
Yeah.
Because if you start to do the things and it doesn't go the way that you plan, who do you blame?
Yeah.
Most people don't actually want to get up and go do the thing. They want to keep talking as if they desire the thing. And what I tell people all the time is, if you're just interested, just say that. If you're only interested in it, just say that. There's a difference between being interested and being committed. Committed people will get up and do the thing. Interested people will look for 33 tutorials on YouTube, read 60 books on the subject matter, Google everything they can, and then still not want to take responsibility for the action steps that lead them to the vision. Why? Because if it doesn't turn out the way that they thought or the way that they said, they don't want to have to take responsibility for it. So it's easier to go in circles, to ask very low vibrational questions, such as, well, why can't I get somebody to just help me? Where is the people who come along and just write the book for you? They ask every question except for, well, what could I do next? What's my next best step? And does this really reflect, again, the space of someone who calls themselves a wannabe national best-selling author? They'll do everything but ask high vibrational questions that lead them to better answers, because it's actually easier to pretend that you don't know. Because then you don't have to take responsibility.
I mean, I when I wrote my book, I really... Of course, I had been talking about it. You knew. I had been talking about it since before. I think you was probably on your 3rd book by the time. At this point. I think you was on your 3rd book. I think you had done 3. And I remember when Patrice and I both sat at an IHOP and wrote down our goals and said what we want to do. We wanted to, I'm going to author a book. You said, I'm going to author a book. Baby, Patrice said, let's see. Let's see who do. Patrice took off. And I remember when I sat down to write Breakthrough Soul Separately, at that point it was like, it's either put up or shut up, because you've been talking about it for 5 years. So at what point are you going to actually put rubber to the road? And I think that most people don't want to do that.
But I think that also speaks to, you did it in the divine right time. And I think that sometimes we just have to accept, I want to do this thing and it is a good thing, but it is not the thing for me right now. And it's okay that I'm interested in doing it, so I'm going to put it on the list. But tell the truth if you're not committed yet. So there are things that I want to do, and I've talked about, and people, when you going to do that? I'm very clear, not right now.
Not right now.
Because there's other things that have my commitment. There are other things that I desire. And because I live from the 6 pillars of wealth, all of my focus is not just the work and money pillar. I want to have a vibrant and full life. So I make sure that there's time for all the other pillars and all the things that I want to do, which means I can't do it all right now. And that is okay. But probably in a year or 2, I'll be committed to writing my 6th book. Right now, I'm not. And I'm okay with that. Right now, I want to spend as much time with my daughter, who's a senior in high school, as I can, because she's going off to college. That is my priority. I want to enjoy being in love again. That is my priority. I want to enjoy building my business in a new way, in a fresh way. I want to enjoy building my community. That's the priority. Everything cannot be the priority. Some people don't get things done because you got 15 priorities. If you have 15 things, nothing is actually a priority.
talk about doing business in a new way and having this freedom and autonomy and dreaming new dreams, right? You decided a year or two ago to cut a 7-figure stream of income in your business. Now, I know most people out here are listening like, wait a minute. She telling me she cut a stream of revenue that was producing 7 figures.
I did.
Because you wanted some more freedom.
I did. And I also genuinely felt like I was led to do that. It was the end of 2022. My divorce was final in August of 2022. I graduated with my MBA in May of 2022. And there were just all of the things. And so even though I was serving hundreds of clients and I was speaking everywhere, Opportunity Knocks, the show on PBS, had just aired. And so I was doing a lot of media and press for that. There was just so much going on. And I just hit this place where I felt like my spirit was like, it's time to do a new thing. And I was like, well, God, what does that look like? And I really didn't know what that meant. I just knew that I couldn't keep holding on. Right? I had to be willing to lose that stream of income to be everything I felt like God was calling me to be. And it's so interesting. So when I say willing to lose, I want to say this too. Being willing to lose doesn't mean that you will lose. Being willing to lose doesn't mean that you want to lose. Nobody wants to lose a 7-figure line of business. But being willing to lose allows you to be radically honest with yourself first and then with others that I am not attached to anything. I am committed to the vision of what I believe God is calling me to, but I'm not attached to how I get there. Lisa Nichols taught me that. And so going into 2023, I was like, told my team, I don't feel led to do Purpose to Platform. And I'm not feeling led to do Command the Stage. I teach speakers, right? I'm like, I don't feel led to do that, and I'm not sure why. And I did not have a plan. I was thinking maybe it would be like, oh, I'll take a quarter off of launching anything. I did not think that it was going to be the whole year. But in doing so, so many things became so clear to me because I wasn't busy in the normal process of launching and then delivering those courses. And so I actually launched Pillar Mastery. And it was about teaching people how to set up that ignited aligned vision and use the pillars to support them. Had I kept going with Purpose to Platform and the other courses I was teaching, Pillar Mastery would have never had the space to be born.
Yeah.
And since leading Pillar Mastery in 2023, we've had about 400 or 500 people go through it at this point. And Brandi, when I talk about marriages have been restored, contrary to what people believe, I'm not here to break up everybody's marriage. I love marriage. I love love, right? When it's with someone who is aligned and also willing to do the work with you, right? But marriages have been restored. I've had a number of clients who have lost 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds. We have people who have gone back to therapy and actually tell their therapist the truth, not just go through it to act like they, to check it off the list.
Yeah.
We've had people move across country. We've had people move to other countries because that's what they genuinely wanted to do. I've seen people get raises and promotions. We've seen people buy homes. So much came out of Pillar Mastery that I believe has literally saved people's lives. And what a blessing to be able to hold space for those people from all over the world to do this type of work. And it would not have happened if I was still moving, in the way that I was before. And so I have those programs, but I put them to bed for like a year and a half or two, and to see what God has done, with the other work. And I want to just say that as a note too. A lot of times we're not willing to lose because we're not clear on what it will be replaced with. But I couldn't have even prayed for how I get to show up in Pillar Mastery now. I wasn't even aware that I had the capacity to truly hold space for people in that way, because I was known as a money coach, a title that I had to release. I was known just as a business coach. I was America's money maven. And in releasing all of that, God showed me that I was so much more than just that. Yeah. And it's informed everything that we do. And so we've still had a successful business, but it just wasn't in the same way. And I'm really excited about where it's going. I just created an assessment for the pillars so people know their scores. I have the Redefining Wealth app now. I have this vibrant community. I go live in there every day and talk crazy.
You go live every day?
I go live every single day. I'm in the middle of a 365-day consistency challenge. At the time of this recording, I'm on day 45. And with the consistency challenge, this is what I felt. it is a way to serve my community, to continue to build my voice, to build like what I truly want my message to be and to serve people. And I feel that it's not just about these 365 days. I feel that by me showing up in this way, the next decade is going to change for me. Wow. It's not about the linear result. It is about the residual result of when you truly show up for what you say you're committed to. And I'm committed to the pillars. I believe in the pillars. The pillars got me through some of the hardest times of my life because I live my life by them. And I am sold out. I'm not doubling down. I'm tripling down on teaching people how to use this framework so that they can better their lives. And so if I say that's what I believe, what am I willing to do? And for me, it was I'm willing to show up in my community every single day and also demonstrate for them that sometimes showing up in consistency looks like 5 minutes. Sometimes it looks like an hour. Sometimes it looks like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It doesn't matter the duration. It's the level of the impact and the fact that I do it every day. So for people who are like, well, I have hundreds of people doing the consistency challenge with me, right? And they're all on different days because they started at different times. But I have people who are, I'm journaling for 15 minutes a day. I'm praying for 10 minutes a day. I'm meditating. I said, the seeds that you're sowing now are going to get you through trials and tribulations you don't even see coming up ahead because your faith pillar will be so steadfast. It's not about what you're experiencing today. It's about what it's building in you and who you are becoming and how that is going to hold you in an entirely different season that you don't even know what's ahead. And in this season, we don't know. In this season, well, what we're experiencing now, what's up ahead. But I do believe no matter what's up ahead, I know who I am and I know who holds me. I know what I carry. And so I'm willing to be consistent.
Whew, that is so good. I can't even get on live every Wednesday. Girl, I be stressed. I be like, I ain't got a word. I ain't got a word.
You always have a word.
But you know what, Patrice? You know what you just got me to like rethink and reshape and reframe it? Because it doesn't have to be an hour. Mm-mm. It don't have to be this long, drawn-out thing. And I think sometimes we spend so much time overthinking the thing. Mm-hmm. We're like, well, I don't have it, or I didn't come dressed right, or I didn't have my makeup done, or I didn't have my hair looking right. I was out. We make all the excuses as to why we can't. But the consistency is just 5 minutes. Yeah. 10 minutes tomorrow, 5 minutes today, 30 minutes here, an hour there. It all adds up.
It all adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I had to make sure that there was joy in it. For me in this season, joy is the currency. If joy is not present, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So I had to make it easy. So I already told my community, you're going to be here every day at 7 p.m., coach? No. I'm going to be here when I get here. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 8:30, sometimes it's 9:45. Watch your notifications and come get your word. Like, it has to be easy. It has to be fun because I'm doing this for me and for you guys, but for my soul. My soul is who pulled this out of me. So I have to allow it to be fluid. I have to allow it to be fun. And I think when we start putting all these restrictions and parameters, that's, again, societal expectations. People tell, in order to win, you got to turn it into a consistent thing or the people won't come back. You have to do it at this time, at this day. It has to look like this. It has to be like hers. It has to. Who said? Who said it had to be that? My clients love it. My community love it. They so busy trying to like, ooh, coach, I got you live. Here I am. Like, they love it and I love it. And so because I love it, I don't show up begrudgingly. Too many people give their gift, but they give it from a place of like, I got to come on and get on this live. We can feel that even if you don't say it.
Absolutely.
We can feel that energy, and we don't want your begrudging energy.
Yeah.
We don't even want that. I don't want your frazzled energy. I don't want your mad energy.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that. If you can't show up from joy, just sit down. And I'm not saying that it's always joy, because one day, actually on Christmas, I think I told you and Carly, I was sad.
Yeah.
I ended up being sad on Christmas.
Because we were expecting you to come to dinner.
Yeah.
We called you on the
guys
phone.
did.
Yeah.
You called me, and I had full expectation. And then I woke up and I realized, I'm grieving today. Like, as I went through the day, there was a lot of grief. I just felt sad on Christmas. And, I had 3 people close to me die last year. And 2 of those people were really instrumental in me having Christmas tradition. I didn't spend a lot of Christmases with my mom. She worked on Christmas. But I spent them with my godmother, who passed last year. And I spent them with my best friend since childhood's mom, who also passed suddenly last year.
Yeah.
And she was like a second mom to me for 30 years. And it was the first Christmas on Christmas Day that I wouldn't have my daughter. She would be with her dad.
Yeah.
And so that also marked the breaking of like Christmas tradition, because we used to do our Christmas brunches. And even though that hasn't happened in some years, I still always had her. I took her to Paris last year. We were in Paris for Christmas, or the year before we were on a cruise. I had never just been home on Christmas with nothing that felt familiar.
Yeah.
And I shared that with my audience. So it wasn't that I was so joyous that day, but I was still consistent. That was day 10. And I was still consistent, and I still showed up, and I shared with them what I was processing and how I was processing it. And I was also just reminding them that the thing is to keep showing up. I don't come here from this place of like, oh, it's going to be perfect. I don't believe that God requires perfection, just obedience. I'm just doing this out of obedience. And so with that obedience is, this is what I'm feeling. This is how I'm processing. And if you've been grieving today as well through the holidays because you lost someone, or you're trying to figure out your new traditions, I just want you to know I feel you. Probably had 20 people send me a message. Thank you, coach. Thank you. Thank you. Because I was grieving and I almost didn't get on because I thought you were going to just be happy in your PJs with your family. And I was just like, I don't know if I have the capacity. And you showing up and sharing your truth in that way allowed me to just sit with mine. And for me, that's what it's about.
That is so good. God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for obedience.
I believe that.
Yeah. Patrice, as we begin to close this interview, I mean, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, every interview today, I didn't run over, okay? Because that just shows you how good these conversations are. One word you are committed to in this season of your life. I feel like I know it now.
Joy.
Joy. Yeah. Yeah.
Joy. I'm scaling joy. Joy is the frequency. Joy is the energy. Like, in this season, if it doesn't bring me joy, I'm cutting it off sooner, quicker, faster. I'm not delaying. I'm not tarrying. I'm not straddling the fence.
Yeah.
If it does not bring me joy, I'm okay with releasing it, because I've seen the power of being willing to lose. And all it's done is like really cemented for me that as long as I'm 1,000% honest with myself, that's all that matters. Trying to get other people's approval and get them on board is not my job. My job is to be 1,000% authentic and fully aligned with Patrice Washington's soul. Nobody else.
Nobody else. Patrice, a good one. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
friend.
This was good.
It was. This gonna bless some people who need to scale some joy in their life. I know God is not looking for perfection. He's just looking for your obedience in this season. Y'all, another good one for the books. Be sure to share this with somebody who could scale some joy in their life. Until next time, I'm your girl, Brandi Harvey. Eat well. Give a damn. Move your body every single day. Peace.